Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get started with the press opportunity. We've got President Gary Forsey here to conduct the interview. The president of the board had to leave to make an early connection, so she regrets that she can't be with you. I think on the telephone we have the Post-Dispatch and KOMU? KBIA, I'm sorry. Okay, so, Mr. President.
Okay, fire away. Good to see everybody. Maria.
I have a first question actually for Mike Coleman. I just wanted to ask you, is any showing such getting such high marks for academic achievement? How was there some type of program in place for athletes? How did this come about? Was there something you guys did special or different?
Yeah, I'll repeat the question for those on the air. The question for Mike Alden from Maria Williams was there special programs that were put in place by MU Athletics to cause this type of result to be produced? That's kind of a paraphrasing, if that's okay, Maria? Okay.
I think, first of all, thank you for the question, and it's really a comprehensive approach that we've developed over the course of a number of years. That gentleman sitting right behind you is Brian Maggard, our Associate Athletic Director for Student Services. And a number of years ago, we put in place what we call at Mizzou our Total Person Program, which was a comprehensive effort to be able to work with our student athletes and our coaching staffs and all of our staffs associated with our program relative to from the recruiting process, the identification of prospects, to once they matriculate to the University of Missouri, to give them the resources and the necessary assistance and guidance to be able to allow them to be able to get their degrees from Mizzou. And so it's really been a comprehensive effort over the course of the last probably decade. And then the focus on our core values, our three core values of academic integrity, social responsibility, and competitive excellence from a branding standpoint has been clearly reinforced frankly on a daily basis. So in a long answer to your question, I think from a comprehensive way and over the course of time and the consistency on really staying true to those core values, I think that's what we've seen from the results from our student athletes.
Yes, please.
I'm with the Columbia Missourian.
More Joe.
Just wondering if the Academic and Student Affairs Committee took any action as far as entry and exit level assessments, competency assessments for undergraduate students.
There were no actions taken today on that. That would be part of our ongoing assessment and measures that the university would take on as part of our transparency initiative, unless there's some specific that we're missing out on. So, Joe, I don't know if there was a specific that you had in mind, or
the nature of discussion on how to administer those types of assessments.
Okay. There has been discussion. The question was the assessment of competencies, the success measures, and there's been a fair amount of discussion about that at the State Coordinating Board of Higher Education. Part of the strategic plan of the State Coordinating Board was to suggest that there be outcome measures on a wide variety of topics, including those that you suggest. So those are being vetted now by the public institutions, both at the community college level as well as the four-year institutions, and certainly the University of Missouri will be taking a leadership role in that regard as we work through our own strategic plan review. And I shared this morning measures for the curators, and you should have a copy of those that would reflect some of those outcome measures, actually.
I got a question for you, Mike. I heard something about same time grades getting posted up for athletes. Does that mean we'll be able to know Chase Daniels' grades as soon as they're available?
Question for Mike Alden was something about same time, real-time grades.
Real-time grades for athletes.
Boy, I'm not sure I would have wanted that one.
Now, Abraham, I'm glad that Brian Maggard is with us right now, because I know that he's going to be able to assist us with this answer. Brian?
I'm not familiar with that. Can you real time, as in at the end of the semester?
Yeah, that was something that they mentioned over there.
Okay. I mean, obviously, we typically get the grades in a fairly timely manner. They're due at usually a Tuesday after finals end, and within a 24, 48-hour period, we know what grades are at that time, which helps with success.
Can the general public or students know what grades are for the students?
No, the general public could not due to regulations.
Yeah. Thank you, Abraham.
Any other questions for athletic director? Otherwise, we'll turn him loose for his journey back. Thanks.
Mr. President Forsey.
Anything else for me for this morning?
Yes, President
Maria.
Dorsey, I have a question about the competitive salary, trying to come up with a program to get salaries for faculty salaries up so that they're competitive with other institutions. Can you talk to us a little bit about what it is, give me more specifics about what it is you guys are doing, what kinds of things are you looking at to make that happen for universities?
Yes, Maria Williams' question was what we're doing specifically to look at competitive salaries. Curator Erdman reported out this morning in the committee reports that both for ranked faculty as well as for administrators, we have done a lot of work to understand where the University of Missouri stands in both the comparison with AAU institutions as well as other peer institutions. And I think, as you know, we are at or near the bottom in both ranked faculty salary as well as administrative salary. So last year the curators adopted an initiative that would close the ranked faculty salary gap by committing to fund or ask for funds over a 3-year period of $21 million to achieve that. This year, as you know, we in fact, within the university, without additional funds from the state, funded the $7 million for the first year of that program. And we did that by self-funding, by obviously taking from other programs if necessary, although we didn't cut programs, but taking other investments in order to deal with what we think is a very critical issue for the campus. In addition to that, you heard Curator Erdman this morning reference that for administrators, administrative salaries, that again, we wanted to look at where we stood relative to peer institutions. And as we adopted at the curators meeting in April, the performance management plan, we also adopted at that same time a policy that would have us over a 2 to 3 year period of time begin to close that salary gap, if you will. And we would do that by both salary increases as well as the performance management system that was being put in place. So that was the reference this morning. We've done a significant amount of benchmarking by individual jobs. Differences between campuses were taken into consideration. So we have that information now and are proceeding to start to work against that over time, as we're doing with ranked faculty salary adjustments. So I have no specifics to share with you this morning, except that the curators and I are very committed to making our university more competitive than we've been historically on salaries, and we can't afford not to have our faculties who are so important to research, development, teaching, and service to not be competitive, and the same with administrators.
President Forsey, this is Dan Claxton calling from Columbia at KFRU. I got in on the conference, or on the press conference, a little bit late, so I hope I'm not asking you to repeat yourself. But I'd like you to give me your opinion on the issue of lowering the drinking age. I know that a lot of your colleagues believe that that would curb binge drinking, and I'd just like to get your thoughts on that.
Well, we provided a statement this morning, Dan, that we can get you a copy of, which says that the University of Missouri does not support this initiative for very specific reasons to do with the health and safety of our students. Frankly, I can't imagine what other colleges and universities around the country are thinking about when they would support such an initiative. I want to be very clear about this, that the university does not support that, because we think that is simply dealing with symptoms as opposed to dealing with the root cause, which is the need for education and programs in very early childhood development that deal with this particular issue. So we are very clear in our support of education, very clear in our support of programs like Partners in Prevention, which is a statewide program, and we'll continue to invest in the education aspect of that, but also will continue to follow the laws of the land, which have been established as a drinking age at 21. And you know, pick your analogy, but it'd be like, in my view, let's go build larger SUVs in hopes that you know, people will stop buying gasoline. And so I can't imagine why someone would think this would be a prudent approach. As a parent, now as an administrator, you know, we would certainly not support this for our campuses.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Derek Simons. Could you give us an update on the Chancellor search for the university and the timeline?
Yeah, the question was an update on the Chancellor search for UMKC and the timeline. We have previously announced the search committee. Bless you. The incoming chair of the trustees, John Reedy from Kansas City, will be one of the co-chairs. Professor Jim Moberly will be the other co-chair. We have a very robust committee of alumni, of faculty, of students, key community leaders in support of that. So we're very encouraged that we have a great committee. Yesterday evening, I announced that Korn Ferry will be conducting the search for us, and we will very quickly have our first organizing meeting to give the charge to the committee and to the search firm, and we'll do that very quickly. These matters do take time, and I don't want to, you know, set a mark out there, but I think history would suggest that, you know, a 6 to 9 month period of time would be kind of viewed as the norm. Any other questions from those that have called in? Any other questions here in the room? Yes.
I apologize for a general question, but
It's okay.
Rising enrollment numbers, less ability to increase tuition, and with higher instances of institutional and state financial aid, what are the universities and the Board of Curators doing in effect to do more with less money on these 4 campuses?
Yeah, the question was around with higher enrollment, with constraints on funding sources, what are we doing within the university system to do more with less in that regard? Well, certainly with increased enrollment does come increased revenue. So those students do in fact bring with them you know, tuition to in essence support you know, support increases in faculty, increases in housing, and we certainly have benefited this year from near record enrollment across all 4 of our campuses. There were reports yesterday by each of our chancellors about enrollment increases and about plans that they had to make in order to accommodate those kind of record enrollments. Tuition under Senate Bill 389, there was a tuition governor put in, if you will, a cap put in that would hold tuition increases to an inflation rate index. This year we increased tuition to that amount. Certainly we will continue to watch that in the future, understanding the pressure on students and the pressure on families in tough economic times to be sure that higher education is affordable. So that is the constant balance about what are the needs of the university to build programs and to deal with issues like we just talked about with faculty salaries, and at the same time understanding full well the mission that we have to serve our state and be sure that that our students and parents have an affordable path to achieve that. So that is a constant balance, and each campus has had efficiency initiatives in order to, as you suggest, continue to stay focused on our mission, but keep in mind that the resources and the constraints on those are very significant.
I have one question. This is Kavita from the Post-Dispatch, and it's about the issues swirling around the Missourian. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about, you know, to what extent the university is willing to to take some of these financial losses that they've been dealing with the last couple of years. I know they're looking at some different possible partnerships, and just wondering if you could talk a little bit about, what sort of a future you see for the Missourian, and to what extent the university is going to continue to support it.
Well, I can't speak for the dean of the journalism school. Next week is an important week as we celebrate our 100th anniversary at the J School. Certainly there's been a lot of public discussion about the Missourian and about its role and its importance in the community as well as to the university. I would simply say, Kavita, that it is one of the icons of the university. That is an important role that print media plays in providing, the best journalism school in the world, and I'm sure that the stewards of that important resource, particularly the dean and the interim dean, will find ways to continue to invent and reinvent along the way the financial means necessary to support that. I can't comment directly about subsidies and about what their exact strategy is. I think there's been speculation this week about partnerships to continue to provide that kind of support. But suffice to say, I view it as one of our key assets and icons of the university, and it should be supported commensurate to that.
You had said at one point, at our editorial board meeting, that you didn't feel like it necessarily had to be, that the university could suffer some losses, that you didn't have to be a money-making or a break-even necessarily organization. Do you still feel that way, or are you looking for ways that can be self-sufficient?
Well, we are a consumer, if you will, of state resources without question. We also, at the same time, continue to seek ways of finding, resources to support and offset some of the requirements and the demands that we do make on the state. So, for example, this morning we spent a lot of time in our general session about economic development. Today we're in Kansas City, so that focused on University of Missouri, Kansas City. Chairperson Walker has made that the key focus this year for her role as chairperson to focus on economic development, and that runs the gamut from what we do in our communities on a broad range of programs, but also specifically what we do within the state to create jobs and to find ways of taking our intellectual property, our intellectual know-how, and turning that into bona fide jobs and economic development for the state. So I think the answer to your question, and maybe it was in the context, does each and every program need to stand on its own, or do we have programs that serve our state and serve the mission of our state that need to be subsidized within the context of the bigger university? And I think my answer to that is yes. There will be programs that aren't self-sustaining that do need to be subsidized within the context of the university's overall portfolio of activities. But more broadly speaking, we continue to have as part of our goals going forward finding ways of supporting our programs differently than perhaps what's been done in the past. Is that clear enough?
I don't foresee, there's been some concern about the, Missourian just kind of going under completely, but you don't foresee that as a possibility.
That's a call that the campus and the dean would be involved in. I think I've been clear about my view of that, of the role of our journalism school and the role of the different media opportunities that they have, but that's their call about what they see the role of that publication playing over time.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions in the room or on the phone? Everyone have a very nice weekend. Thank you.
You too.